Yes, it is indeed Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. I am Peaches. If you want to get a hold of me, you can over at 208-535-1015. I love when bands decide to tease things online. They'll wipe their Instagram clean, or they'll post some sort of maybe little video of some vague, ambiguous things, and then they put some vague caption as well, and you go, what on earth are they doing? Usually, if they're teasing something for a Tuesday, that means they're going to announce a tour. If they're teasing something for maybe a Thursday or a Friday, could be a new single, or it could be something as disappointing as a merch drop, which is one of the worst announcements a band can make. Like, hey, you want some $80 sweatpants? Well, we're about to give you some. Anyway, Shinedown was teasing this whole thing, this arena tour. They were teasing it for quite some time. Even Rockfeed got into that whole thing. Well, it turns out Rockfeed is going to be a part of the entire tour. Shinedown, the Dance Kid Dance Act 2 tour with Coheed and Cambria, From Ashes to New, and DJ Rockfeed. Now, I'm only familiar with Rockfeed being a YouTuber who interviews famous rock artists. I don't know what DJ Rockfeed even means, if he's going to be actually DJing with records and all of that. Or is he just going to be like, all right, guys, we're here today in insert city name here, announcing the bands, announcing what's happening, that type of thing. That could get old pretty fast, right? I'm curious as to see what he's actually going to be doing. Shinedown, Coheed and Cambria, From Ashes to New, the Dance Kid Dance Act 2 tour coming to the Extra Mile Arena in Boise. That got announced today. And then also some more stereotypical jock rock. Or should I say divorced dad rock with this. You got Breaking Benjamin as the headliner, Chevelle as the opener, Starset as another opener, and then I don't know how you say this, Kami Kaho, is that how you say it? That lineup coming to the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater September 30th. There's that tour that's been announced along with the Shinedown tour. Dance Gavin Dance announced a tour, going to be making a stop in Salt Lake at the Union on June 23rd, and then a major tour that got announced that I kind of want to go see her this time around. I was kind of jealous that Victor got to go see her last time. Now, I'm also wanting to see her openers. I'm talking about Poppy. Announced a Constantly Nowhere tour Friday, July 31st at the Union in Salt Lake City. Poppy with Landmarks and 1,000 Below. I've played tons of Landmarks, I think a track or two from 1,000 Below as my pick of the day in the past. Landmarks is one of my favorite bands. I definitely need to go to that show. Add that to my seemingly never-ending list of concerts that I want to go to in 2026. All those shows that I just talked about are on our concert calendar at riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. You can also find the shortcut to it via the K-Bear 101 app. I believe now there's just over 100 shows on that calendar. Over 100 different rock shows coming to the area. Pretty cool. riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. Peaches Pit Party will return here in just a few on K-Bear 101. So we talked about this on the noon hour of Madness and Mayhem earlier today. I'm going to talk about it again here because last night I was making my way over to my girlfriend Aubrey's apartment in Rexburg, and from my work to her place, I have to go on the freeway, then get off exit 119, and then turn right, and then go take the freeway all the way up to Rexburg. Well, exit 119 has a stoplight. More specifically, 2 red arrows pointing to the right, which means you can't turn there if it's red. You can when it's green. Most people just see that and go, you know what, I can yield, and then I can wait till it's open, and then go. That type of thing. You're not supposed to do that. That's against the law there. It even says no right-hand turn on red, yet I saw 4 or 5 cars make that right-hand turn, and that could be ticket central for the Idaho State Police right there. So, of course, we'll have to talk about it this Friday on Traffic School, powered by the Advocates at 8:45. I just posted, hey, a friendly reminder, and there was people in the comments saying that I was complaining about dumb things. I'm like, well, this is a post in the Life in Idaho Falls Facebook group. This is community-oriented, me looking out for other people's safety, because at that particular intersection, there's a lot of different car accidents. And I mean a lot of different ones. There was one time Victor drove me to the airport, and we had to get off that part of the freeway there. and we couldn't do so because there was like a deadly car accident where I think like 4 or 5 people died. They were in a van. It got T-boned. It was a whole crazy thing that happened. But anyway, yeah, exit 119 in Idaho Falls. Be extra cautious. If you see a red arrow, do not turn. Wait for it to turn green. And we'll get that confirmed by Lieutenant Crane of the Idaho State Police this Friday for traffic school powered by the Advocates. So I made a joke on the noon hour of Madness and Mayhem. Victor said it was Tuesday. I jokingly said every day or every Tuesday is Fat Tuesday for us, not realizing today is actually Mardi Gras. You know, beads and beignets for everyone apparently. And the last day to party before Lent. I was reading here about just Fat Tuesday. And then what popped up shortly after that is the actor Shia LaBeouf. He's apparently in jail in New Orleans after a late night Mardi Gras arrest. He was kicked out of a bar just after midnight last night for becoming increasingly aggressive. Once outside, officer says he punched a man several times, left the scene, then returned acting even more aggressive, allegedly striking the same person again before punching another man in the nose. And my favorite part about this whole story is that it says Shia LaBeouf is terrorizing Louisiana. Terrorizing New Orleans. That's the words that they chose. That's the word that they chose. He's terrorizing the area. It's like, could you imagine, like, hey, don't go outside. There's a shutdown order. Shia LaBeouf is back, and he's looking to beat some people up, that type of thing. Bystanders reportedly had to hold him down until police arrived. That's how rowdy he got. Shia LaBeouf going nuts. He's on my list of celebrities that I think would smell pretty bad. You'd walk up and be like, wow, what is that? Like the natural deodorant with no aluminum, that type of thing. He seems like the type of guy, you know what? Maybe I should not insult him because he might come terrorize East Idaho and punch me in the face. I completely forgot to talk about this on the show yesterday. The band Tool, obviously. I said it near the beginning. Towards the beginning. I said it when the Las Vegas Sphere was built, that they should have Tool perform in that venue. It'd be awesome to have all the different visuals that you would see when Tool's performing. It would be like a stoner's dream, essentially. And it would be very expensive, too. That's the thing when it comes to Tool. There would be no phones whatsoever. They would charge you a whole bunch of money, especially with it being Las Vegas, especially with it being one of the coolest venues out there. And they're already known for just like hurting people's wallets badly. I was taking a look at their store. Just a standard hoodie, $90. $90 for a hoodie. I see $45 for a basketball jersey. Who's walking around in a Tool basketball jersey? I could only imagine Victor trying to walk around in one of those, showing off his sick tats on his arm, that type of thing. I see a Lateralis flame button shirt, $55. Tool's just blatantly trying to rip you off. And it's not like it's even crazy good music. It's Tool. Just Tool. Anyway, let's play some Poppy. Unravel. Every year, the NFL Players Association sends a survey to the players and invites them to give their team grades. It's a fun exercise because fans get to see which teams are well run and which teams are dumpster fires, like the Jets. This year, led by Jets owner Woody Johnson, the NFL took the Players Association to court and got the court to rule that it was illegal for the Players Association to make these embarrassing report cards public. Score that as a victory for the NFL, except nothing is really going to change. While the Players Association can't make the report cards public, somebody will. The grades will be leaked and made public. I feel like the New York Jets are a bunch of just sore losers, especially for doing something like that. Also, with the name Woody Johnson, how sad that is. The Miami Dolphins released their superstar wide receiver Tyreek Hill yesterday as part of a massive roster purge to clear up to $30 million in cap space. The new general manager, John Eric Sullivan, seems to be hitting the reset button as he cut also linebacker Bradley Chubb and others. Next up for the Dolphins, a big $56 million decision on their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Is that how you say it? Tagovailoa? The country of Norway, once again, is crushing it at the Winter Olympics. They're on pace to get the most medals for the third Olympics in a row. When you're watching Norway dominate, keep in mind that the country is about the size of Montana and has the population of South Carolina. For sure, Norway has an advantage because it's about as far north as Canada with all that snow and cold, but the U.S. with plenty of snow and cold and more than 340 million people should not be losing this much to Norway. I watched a TikTok recently of some girl getting all emotional. She was talking about those countries that don't necessarily have a whole lot of people living there. Watching their representatives for the Winter Olympics made her kind of emotional, seeing just like 2 people show up for that entire country. The country of Norway, they're small, but they'll dominate. That does it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. Peach's Pit Party on K-Bear 101. I saw this story about the Idaho Falls rescue mission, and it really puts things into perspective. They're at full capacity right now across all their shelters, and their meal program has exploded. They used to serve maybe 80 to 100 people a night, and now they're seeing upwards of 200 showing up for a single meal. And what's wild is this isn't happening during some brutal winter stretch. It's been relatively mild, right? It just shows how much things have changed. Everything costs more now. Rent, groceries, gas, all of it. Doesn't take much for someone to fall behind and suddenly need help just to get through the week. And this isn't some faraway big city problem. This is happening right here in the area in Idaho Falls. These are people in our own community. They're also doing something called the Frosty Footsteps 5K that I've talked about a whole bunch on the air. It's to help raise awareness and support the mission. It's part of their Walk in the Cold campaign, and it helps people understand what others are going through while raising money to keep those services running. If you want to get involved or learn more, you can find everything at walkinthecold.com. It's one of those stories that makes you stop and realize how important places like that really are, because you never know when someone might need that kind of help. Again, walkinthecold.com. I should have included this in my Shot Clock Sports Update. There was a college basketball game between Oklahoma and Georgia. They had to stop because a popcorn machine caught on fire. Actual flames coming out of the concession stand. That's how fragile everything is. Thousands of people showed up, national broadcast, athletes ready to go, and the whole thing gets paused because the popcorn machine decided today was its last day on Earth. You already know someone paid like $9 for that popcorn too. Imagine being that person that did so. You spend that kind of money and then watch it almost burn the building down 5 seconds later. Nobody was hurt, which is good, but it just proves nothing is maintained until it fails publicly at those types of events. That machine has probably been making suspicious noises for 15 years, and everyone just ignored it. That poor minimum wage worker standing there watching their entire shift turn into an emergency situation because maybe somebody wanted extra butter, something like that. I did watch the video. If you want to see it, I don't have the audio pulled up, but it is on YouTube. The whole place gets filled with smoke. You got these hilarious announcers with a Southern accent. A Southern accent makes everything just so much funnier. Ever since I got that whole AFib heart diagnosis, I have been extra paranoid, and I mean big time paranoid, which I know only makes things worse. Really, it does. But there are times where everything is fine. I'm good to go. I feel like I'm healthy. And then there are those days where I'm like, oh no, something's about to happen. Like that one day recently where I thought I was having a stroke because my right hand was going like not necessarily numb. It just fell asleep because I'm adding pressure to my arm in a certain way by holding onto the mouse, that type of thing. And the medications that I take sort of make my blood flow poor. So yeah, any little thing, if I were to sit down in a weird way, it's a weird thing that happens now because of the meds that I'm on. So I was sitting here and my right hand was going numb and I was like, oh my God, I'm having a stroke. So I immediately started to do that windmill motion with my right arm like Pete Townsend. And sure enough, that's what caused me to punch the disco ball here in the studio. I talked about that previously. You can find that episode of Peach's Pit Party on demand wherever you get your podcasts. But any little thing, like this morning, I was having a little bit of trouble breathing for some reason. I don't know why, but I was like, oh no, this is a sign. Something's happening. Something's about to happen. You know, there are those people that be like, okay, that might be a warning sign. You got to be careful. Something might be happening. You might want to go to the doctor, that type of thing. And East Idaho News decided to publish this article also, I think last night, how to know if chest pain is actually an emergency. That whole thing. It is a great article. It tells you what to do. It tells you to call 911 right away. If you have chest pain that is new, unexplained, severe, or lasts more than a few minutes, especially if you also have pain that spreads to your jaw, your neck, arms, or back, you got shortness of breath, sweating, or nausea, lightheadedness or fainting, a feeling of pressure, tightness, or heaviness in your chest, that's when you should call 911 right away, all right? If you want to learn more, check out the full article at eastidahonews.com. Peach's Pit Party on K-Bear 101. Sometimes I laugh thinking about what if East Idaho got those Waymo cars like I talked about earlier. You know, those driverless vehicles, people around here would freak out. Also, if Amazon did drone delivery, I feel like a lot of people would just shoot them down for fun, maybe even if they were afraid, thinking it was the government trying to get inside their house, so they come running outside with their gun and shoot down the drone like it's a skeet, you know? And I was thinking about, what if here in the area we had those little robots that deliver food? I'm sure we couldn't because most of the year we have snow. And we have harsh weather. In Los Angeles, they very rarely have harsh weather. Everything else is bad, but the weather, that's the one of the few good things about LA. It's about 70 degrees and sunny year round, except for these past couple of days. It's been raining, and by raining, I mean some sprinkles here and there. And sure enough, people are still trying to order their food with these robots, even though there's a storm going on outside. And the robot, there's a video of this particular robot in LA that is struggling to go through this flooded street. Again, LA is not made for more than a few inches of rain. So when it does actually rain out there, it becomes a huge disaster. People don't know how to drive. Oh, it's awful. This robot, I'm laughing at it, it's just struggling, but still, it's still trying to get the food to the person. Now, imagine if these food delivery robots were around here in the area, people would be, messing with them, kind of like how they are in LA. They'd be trying to kick them over, that type of thing. I mean, there's still that story, that classic story from East Idaho News last year or the year before. I think it might have been 2 or 3 years ago, actually, of that guy that was so mad at those bird scooters that he started chucking them in the Snake River, got arrested because of it. I can see a few people just chucking those food robots right into the Snake River, right there in downtown Idaho Falls. Everyone loves talking about workplace red flags, including myself. You know, that classic phrase, they're toxic. That toxic boss. Nobody quits because they're happy. They're just excited to leave that job if they have the slightest opportunity to do so. The manager schedules meetings that could have been an email, all that type of stuff. Nobody talks about the green flags, though. This is one of those rare times where I'm going to be positive on this show. And honestly, these green flags, they're way more important because most people don't even realize they're in a good situation until they leave and end up somewhere terrible. One of the biggest green flags is when you're sick and your boss just says, stay home. No guilt trip, no passive-aggressive response, no weird pressure to show up and infect everyone else. I mean, there was that one time recently I did feel guilty calling out because I think it was right after we recorded the noon hour. It was me and I think Maddie, not that long ago. And I just felt horrible. That was probably the sickest I've been. That was late last year, as a matter of fact. And sure enough, Jade's like, dude, just go home, rest. We'll see how you feel tomorrow, that type of thing. Another huge green flag is when people actually leave on time. The second it hits 5, they're gone. Nobody's pretending to be busy just to impress someone. That's a sign nobody's being silently held hostage by their own job, that type of thing. I mean, once it hits 5 around here, that's when everyone leaves, all right? Hearing laughter at work is a big one. If people are joking around, acting like normal humans, that's a great thing to hear. That means they don't feel miserable being there. When your boss admits they screwed up something up themselves and not, they don't put blame on others. That almost never happens. Most places will blame literally anyone else before admitting fault. And maybe the biggest one is when you take PTO and nobody bothers you. You come back, everything was handled, nobody called, nobody texted, nobody needed you to save the day while you were trying to exist outside your job. You can find real jobs from real local companies right here in the area if you go to HireEastIdaho.com. There's a whole lot of green flags on that site. I can guarantee you that. If you're looking for something new or if you're looking to get out of your job that currently has a whole bunch of red flags, make sure to go to HireEastIdaho.com. If you're not a part of our K-Bear Rockin', what the heck was I about to say? K-Bear Rockin' something. If you're not a part of our K-Bear 101 Idaho Rock and Metal Facebook group, definitely join. Every single time a major tour gets announced, I not only put it on our concert calendar, I also share it onto the Facebook group itself. There's been a good amount of tours today announced that are coming to the area. Shinedown, Coheed and Cambria, From Ashes to New with DJ Rockfeed, the Extra Mile Arena in Boise. That's going on August 10th. Breaking Benjamin, Chevelle, Starset, Kami Keho, I don't know how you say that artist's name, September 30th at the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. There's also Dance Gavin Dance coming to the Union in Salt Lake City, June 23rd, with Horse the Band, Wolf and Bear, Novelists as well. Also, another great show, Poppy, with Landmarks, 1,000 Below, going to be at the Union in Salt Lake Friday, July 31st. Again, those are on our concert calendar at riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. I'm very excited that we're only into February and there's already over 100 shows on our concert calendar. Again, you can find the shortcut to it via the K-Bear 101 app. Look at what's coming, see if there's anything that catches your interest, and you can also buy tickets by simply clicking the Explore Event button right then and there. This band will be in both Salt Lake City and Boise, I believe in May. Here's Vanna with Pray on K-Bear 101. A guy in Florida got arrested, and when cops asked him his name, he told them he's George Costanza. He fully committed to the bit. If you're going to lie to the police, at least pick someone who doesn't live in a fictional apartment in New York and hasn't existed since the finale of Seinfeld in 1998. You know, the cops immediately knew he was faking it. The second he heard it, he's probably just staring at him like, hey, you really thought this was going to work? That type of thing. The guy was already being arrested for missing court, which means he was losing before he even opened his mouth. And then he decided to make it worse by role-playing as the most neurotic, unemployed character in television history. There is a level of confidence there that almost deserves respect. I would love to see if the cop actually laughed out loud when he said that. I mean, completely useless confidence, but still confidence. Now he's sitting in a Florida jail, and somewhere there's a cop telling that story for the rest of his life. And honestly, George Costanza would have done the same thing, I think. I do like the headline for this one, An Arrest About Nothing. That is today's What the Headline right here on K-Bear 101. Of course, we used to have that video series, Peaches Needs a Pal. Yeah, that was quite humbling for me, just because it was me saying, hey, let's pretend I'm alone everywhere that I go, and I would tell Jade, Victor, or whoever that I was with at the time, be like, hey, hold this phone real quick, pan from the left to the right, and then I'll just take care of the rest. Well, now there's this post blowing up from a woman saying she never wants to live with a guy again. And a ton of older women are like, yes, I agree with you. They're backing her up saying living alone is the greatest thing ever. And at first, yeah, it sounds awesome. Like you got total freedom. Nobody's touching your stuff. Nobody's eating your food. Nobody's snoring. You run everything. But let's be honest here. There's a difference between independence and isolation. A lot of people saying this are coming out of long marriages, bad relationships, messy divorces. Of course, living alone feels amazing after that. I remember when I first moved out of my parents' place, I was like, finally, I don't have to hear my mom sound like Brian Johnson of AC/DC screaming at me why there's dishes in the sink. You went from constant stress to complete peace. Anyone would love that. But that doesn't mean living alone forever, being alone forever is actually the end goal. It just means the last situation was bad, because eventually the freedom stops feeling exciting and starts feeling quiet. Nobody tells you, nobody to tell about your day, nobody there when something good happens, nobody there when something bad happens either. And people cope with that by convincing themselves they don't need anyone, which is easier than admitting they still want someone, just not the wrong someone. You know, living alone is not sad. Being stuck with the wrong person is way worse, but pretending nobody adds anything to your life at all is usually just someone protecting themselves from getting hurt again. Let's do some Thornhill Mercia on K-Bear 101. I was talking about it at the beginning part of the show. At least tomorrow we get a new track from that band, President. You know, that was their song right there, Destroy Me. What's the title of this new one? Is it called Angel-Wings or something like that? I love the way they address their listeners. It says citizens, but each letter is spaced out. And then it goes on to say the next chapter begins. This was posted yesterday. Angel wings. There's no hyphen in between them, but each letter is also spaced in between. Comes out tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it says be present. All right. So President dropping a new track tomorrow. I love when bands just get cryptic. I love it. Wage War just cleared everything off of their Instagram, I believe, and they just made a post again with those spaces in between the letters, and it says it calls me by name. Pre-save here, and there's a whole bunch of creepy nature sounds and this quick little video showing a tree. I guess maybe Friday this will come out. I don't know if is there a countdown timer somewhere, or is it coming out tomorrow as well? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out with them. At least with President, we know it's coming out tomorrow. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brenden Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.